Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to Spiritually Aligned, a podcast designed to support and guide women on their journey of awakening. Over the next several months, I'll actually be dedicating time and space to supporting and guiding the divine feminines who are on the twin flame journey. Together, we'll dive into various aspects of this journey so you can peel back the layers and rediscover who you are, along with aligning to your inner knowing and ultimately your highest timeline. And by doing so, you'll begin to create not only a loving, understanding, and compassionate journey for yourself, but for your beloved as well. I invite you to join me in this week's episode as I dive into the myths regarding the twin flame journey. So grab a cup of coffee or tea and let's get started. But before I do, let me introduce myself. I am your host, Melissa. I am a spiritual guide, I am a healer, and I transmute energy multidimensionally. I am also the divine feminine in my twin flame connection, and I'm simply here to guide and support the divine feminines to a state of inner union in a way that's highly aligned to you and also your soul. And so if you're wanting to know more, make sure you follow me on TikTok. And let's get started in this week's episode. Truth be told, I've been wanting to do this episode for a really long time. And I also knew that I really needed to meditate on some of these things and receive more clarity and guidance around specific things regarding the twin flame journey. Because for those of you that are new and this is your first time joining me, I discovered that I was a twin just over 6.5 years ago. And what's unique about my journey is I actually had a relationship with my beloved for about 7 months. After that, we went into separation, and 9 months later, I discovered I was on the twin flame journey. And all along the way, I knew there was something more about him. I knew that we were meant to be together, and just really so much more. And during that time, I was actually navigating my journey from my connection with God and my inner knowing. And at that time, my journey was so much more peaceful, and I always felt aligned with where it was that I was needing to go. And it wasn't until that I discovered that I was a twin flame journey on the twin flame journey that I went down the rabbit hole of discovering information, videos, all this stuff regarding the twin flame journey, and my judgment, my inner knowing became clouded. And I started seeking outside of myself regarding this journey versus turning within like I did for my first 9 months. And I actually spent about 2 years down this path of seeking outside of myself, trying to understand every single aspect of this journey. And along the way, I have picked up some limiting beliefs regarding this journey, because the way that I see it and the things that I have been shown is for the last, I don't know how long, like 10 years is what I want to say. There's been information regarding the twin flame journey in the collective that is actually misleading, and it's creating delays in coming into inner union and also for twin flames to come into 3D union. And as most of you know, that as twin flames, we carry a very unique frequency. A lot of us carry codes that are needed to be brought down into planet Earth to help create the change that our planet and the collective as a whole is needing. And I don't want you to think that I think that twin flames are more important or more special than other human beings, because we're not. We just simply signed up for a different job in regards to the evolution of our planet. And our job comes with very specific things with it. But also too, when you start to understand that your twin flame journey is about your path of ascension and you ascending to a higher level of consciousness and being in a relationship and navigating your ascension with this other person who is you in another body, that's like the added bonus. And many of us have spent majority of our journey focused on the other person. And so today I want to dive into some of the myths that I've discovered about the twin flame journey. And I fell for some of these, and I actually believed some of them for a really long time. Others were never resonated with me, and I turned a blind eye to them and didn't even entertain them. And so as we dive into these, I want to start off with one of the things that I struggled with in the beginning of my journey when I discovered that I was a twin. And everything I want to talk about are things that I discovered or people have told me, whether it's other twin flames, coaches, gurus, tarot readers, or whatnot. These are all things that I discovered once I found out I was a twin. Before that, I didn't have any of these beliefs. I just knew certain things regarding my journey, what it was that I needed to do. And I knew that when I met my divine masculine, that he was my forever person. And one of the things that I was told by other twin flames is that I needed to accept breadcrumbs. And to me now, I know a few years later that no one should accept breadcrumbs from anyone, especially not your beloved, right? And I remember having this deep knowing that I wasn't meant to accept breadcrumbs from him, because I always had said I deserve to have the whole cake, right? Each and every one of you listening to this deserves to have the whole cake. And the individuals that I was connected with at that time were accepting breadcrumbs, and they were like, well, you need to be able to spend as much time with him, and this is a way that you get to be connected with him. But all the while, I was never the chosen one, right? The one that I wanted him to choose me versus choosing others. And I remember getting into a deep conversation that was very different opinions on both sides regarding this. And I just knew within me that if I wanted him to choose me, that I needed to choose myself and to see my worth and my value. And if you're accepting breadcrumbs right now in your journey, it's okay. Don't blame yourself, don't shame yourself or judge yourself. Up until this point, you didn't know any better. And so now you have to look at within you and say, what part of me is accepting breadcrumbs? And why is this okay to that part of me? What other parts do I need to see in order to know my worth and my value when it comes to having a relationship with another person? Another myth that I hear all the time, I would see this in comments, I'll hear other coaches and guides talk about this, and the myth out there is that the feminine should never reach out to the divine masculine. And I remember reaching out to my beloved at certain times of our journey when we were in no contact. And the times that I broke no contact, oftentimes it was coming from a place of my heart, right? Like I just intuitively knew that I needed to send him a very specific message. And I can remember at times him saying thank you. Like I needed to hear that, or I needed to know that. And to think that if I wouldn't have reached out to him and sent him that message, he would never have known. And oftentimes it was insight to certain things, or just needing him to know something specific about our journey, right? And so when it comes to reaching out to the divine masculine, when you're in that no contact And especially if you are the divine feminine, who tends to be more of the chaser, the anxious attachment style, right? When we begin to feel them pull away, our instinct is to chase after them, right? To call them, to message them. But one of the things that my divine masculine is really great about is at the times when I do reach out to create some type of connection with him, whether it's through conversation or whatever it may be, and I'm reaching out from this place of need, he never, ever responds. He'll read the message, but never responds. And so I've learned over time to know what that feels like when I'm reaching out of a need of connection from him, or if I feel him pulling away, versus learning how to respond and to send a message from my heart. And every time I've sent a message from my heart, it's from that place of unconditional love, meaning I need nothing in return. Where the other times I would reach out and I was needing something, right? And there's so much medicine for the divine feminine to be able to receive through that lack of response from the divine masculine. And so if your divine masculine isn't responding to a message that you sent during no contact, feel into the emotions that you're feeling. What is it bringing up for you? These are the parts of you that you are needing to be able to see about yourself. And, people say that the divine masculine should always be pursuing the divine feminine. And for me, I think that's a really unrealistic expectation. Being in a relationship is about giving, right? And following your heart and what it is that you intuitively should be doing. And because we're reaching out doesn't necessarily mean that we're pursuing the divine masculine. It's always about the energy, and it's always about the intention. The third myth that I want to talk about is the twin flame journey needs to be hard and complicated. And here's the thing, is it's not hard, it's not complicated, but because of some of these limiting beliefs that are in the collective right now, it is making it harder. It is making it more complicated because there's a lot of misguided information out there regarding the twin flame journey. And that's why I'm wanting to create this, is to debunk all of these myths that are out there and help others navigate this in a more aligned way. Yes, you are going to be faced with challenges. Yes, you are going to have to overcome obstacles to be able to see how resilient you are and to understand what it is that you are capable of. And that happens to those that are on their spiritual awakening. Like our twin flame journey is just like a bonus, like an added layer to the cake. And we get to journey our journey of awakening with another human being who is our mirror, mirroring back to us everything that we need to know about ourselves, both good and both bad. And you can't really see me, but I'm doing air quotes around good and bad because I don't believe anything is good or bad. It simply just is. And whenever we follow our intuition, that inner knowing, right? That's our GPS, our guidance system that is helping us navigate this in the most aligned way. But when we try to figure this out from the mind, when we try to calculate how things are going to happen or what it is that we need to do, we always tend to choose the quote unquote wrong path. And no path is ever wrong. Every path that we choose has lessons that we need to learn about ourselves. And so where is it in your journey you're making things more difficult and more complicated than they need to be? And yes, we have past life things that we carry in from other lifetimes that are impacting our connection without us even knowing. And I began talking about that in another episode. But to understand that we need to also be able to clear those things. But this journey doesn't have to be complicated. And so begin to evaluate, where are you complicating things? Where is it that you're trying to figure things out regarding your beloved that at this point in your journey you don't need to worry about or even think about or dive into that, and to trust in the knowing that when you are ready and when your beloved is ready, that they will answer all the questions that you have regarding their journey. Myth number 4 is, many people have said that you need to experience these things, A, B, and C, before union can occur. And it goes along the lines of the myth that you need to be completely healed to come into union. I do believe that there is a major lesson that both the divine feminine and divine masculine need to experience and learn before coming into union. Because by learning that lesson, it allows them to come into inner union. And when we come into inner union, we're balanced with our feminine and masculine within us, which then allows us to become balanced with our divine masculine. Oftentimes you hear in the collective, the divine masculine has to experience a karmic before you come into union. And looking back on my journey, if I would have followed my intuition and my inner knowing about something, we never would have had to gone down the path of a karmic. Remember, karmic relationships are just about lessons. And I was going through a karmic lesson at that time, because my biggest karmic lesson in life is my relationship with money. And that's the exact thing that happened and shifted us into this path of having to experience a karmic connection. And so you will always have lessons to learn. And for me, when it comes to my lessons with money, it's taken me years to clear, to heal, and understand my relationship regarding money. And do I wish I would have learned it sooner? Absolutely. But am I grateful for the path that we have gone down because of this? 100%. Because if I didn't go down this path, I wouldn't know what it is that I know. I wouldn't have learned the things that I have learned to be able to teach others to do things differently. And when you hear somebody say you need to be healed in order to come into union, that is a very limiting belief, because we will never be completely healed in this lifetime. Our journey is to ascend our consciousness, right? And to heal some of our deepest wounds that trigger us, that create, these discordant energies between us. And to learn how to navigate through a secure attachment style. But also, too, in order to navigate through that, it makes it easier when you are in union and relationship with someone else. Because I've come to learn that where I'm at in my journey, I've kind of peaked in regards to what it is that I can experience regarding romantic relationships. And I feel like I'm on the verge of learning what it will be like for two secure people to come together and have a relationship. Have I seen people come together in union? 100%. Have they healed completely some of their wounds, some of their limiting beliefs? No. And they're learning how to navigate those things together, where two people are coming together, taking responsibility for their own wounds, for their own feelings, and not relying on the other person to provide their happiness, to fix things for themselves. For us divine feminines, so many of us are being called to really step into our power and realize how powerful we are as a creator and as a being, and to begin collaborating with one another and to be able to see each other as collaborators, right? And not the competition. No one in this lifetime is your competition. The way that I look at it is I'm in competition only with myself to continue to become the best version of myself that I can be, to ascend to the highest level of consciousness that I can in this lifetime. So when or if I should say, I have to come back down and live on planet Earth, I can live from a completely different perspective than I ever have as a soul. I think I'm on myth number 6. I did not number these on my on my note section of my iPad. But myth number 6, I hear this all the time, and this brings a lot of confusion to people, is that the twin flame journey isn't a romantic journey. I see it all the time. And a lot of times this is coming from those who are not on the twin flame journey. Those who might be spiritual coaches or label themselves as a spiritual guru, or even tarot readers, right? And I always think of it from this perspective is, if I'm feeling sick, right? I have a cold or whatever it may be, I'm not going to go to a lawyer to help me understand my cold. Doesn't make sense to go to the lawyer, right? Because they're not going to know what's causing my cold or why I'm sick. Instead, I'm going to go to a doctor. And oftentimes, we're brought tarot readers, coaches, spiritual guides and stuff that are not on the twin flame journey. And we have this information coming up on our FYP on TikTok or our homepage on YouTube, and we think, oh, if this is coming across my page, it must be for me. No, it's where we need to use discernment. So why would you go to somebody who is not experiencing the twin flame journey, knows nothing what it's like to experience an awakening with another human being that is you? And on top of it, there's this magnetic connection and a pull towards them like you've never experienced before. And so it's just to be mindful of who it is that you're going to for guidance, for coaching and healing, because not everybody is meant to understand this journey. And so there is a romantic component to it. The way that I look at it, it is the bonus to my journey of awakening, my journey of coming back home to myself and going through everything that I've experienced in this lifetime. That my divine masculine, my twin flame journey in 3D union is an added bonus. Many times I describe this journey of coming back home to myself as like an ice cream sundae, because I love ice cream. I love all sweets pretty much. And to think about an ice cream sundae is like you get to build your sundae, right? You can put different flavors of ice cream in there. You can put the sprinkles on there, whipped cream, all that kind of stuff, right? You can make it look and taste as the best that you want, right? And my divine masculine is the cherry on top of that ice cream sundae. He adds to whatever it is that I've already created for myself, right? He adds to my happiness that I've created. He adds to the peace that I've created, right? Like I have to be able to create all these things within me. And he's just an addition to it. So the romantic part of it is like an added bonus. Myth number 7 is everyone has a twin flame. And my friends, I'm here to tell you that is far from the truth. Not everyone has a twin flame. Not everyone is meant to experience this. and I talked about this on my TikTok page, is that we have so many people out there looking for their twin flame because there are coaches out there saying everyone has a twin flame. So they're out there looking for their twin flame. It's adding more confusion, more hands into this pot and like stirring things around. And we have to realize that our soul decides whether or not we experience a twin flame journey. And for those of us that are on the twin flame journey, this is not the first time we have incarnated with our twin flame. For many of us, it's been lifetime after lifetime upon lifetime, right? Of going through this, because this is the path that our soul chose in regards to the evolution of it. Where others have chose to experience being autistic or having some other type of experience, whether that is confined to a wheelchair or have some other type of disability. All of these things are different gifts and different experiences that we experience at the level of the soul, right? So if you happen to come across this and you are searching for your twin flame, my best advice for you is to stop and to allow whatever person, whether it's a soulmate or whatever it may be, to come into your reality so you can begin to experience the life and the relationship that you are meant to experience. Myth number 8, I think that's what number we're on, is twin flames aren't meant to be in union. I see this all the time. All the time. People are saying, oh, twin flames aren't meant to be in union. Some of them are just meant to be together to work, to do this or to do that. No. Why would you, at the level of the soul, choose to be on this experience and to have this magnetic pull and to have a mirror that mirrors back to you everything about yourself and then never come into union? To me, that doesn't make sense to my soul or to my mind, right? And oftentimes I'll say to others, whether it's in my videos and podcasts or even in coaching my clients or talking with some of my friends, I have some dear friends who are also on the journey. And I will say I didn't come this far in life to only come this far. And it's like, for me, like I didn't come this far in my journey to only settle for a soulmate. To me, that doesn't make sense because I know what it is that I'm capable of at the level of the soul. And I know what it is that I came here to experience. And so when you see somebody who is saying that twin flames aren't meant to be in union, sit with that part of you. And it goes along with all of these myths that I'm talking about. Sit with a part of you that believes that. Perhaps you've taken on a limiting belief within the collective, and I am so guilty of it, which is why I want to talk about this and why I am talking about it, is I've taken on these limiting beliefs, and it has created delays in my journey. And the last thing that I want for others who are on the twin flame journey is to experience those same delays, because I want as many divine feminines to feel and experience life the way that I am, which is filled with so much peace, compassion, unconditional love. Like I have a zest for life that I've never had before. And also too, being able to change my self-concept about myself and what it is I'm capable of, what it is that I'm worthy of, and really just the list goes on. And now, are you ready for the last myth? I think it's myth number 9. This myth, when I heard this just blew me away. And there's a couple people on TikTok in particular that I see that talk about this, and that's, you have more than one twin flame. And to me, that is far, 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 far from the truth. Because a twin flame is meaning like two souls, right? Like when we look at twins, it's two people. So twin flames, twin souls are two, right? And so we have to be mindful of that, and just to be aware and to dive into what it is that you truly believe. And when you come across these types of what do I want to say, myths or things that people are putting out there, to use discernment and to understand the difference between what it feels like when something resonates within you and something that doesn't. But also too, we have to also understand the difference between when something doesn't resonate with you and resistance, because trust me, amongst those three, I had them all confused and all backwards for a really long time, which is a whole another episode in itself. So I would love to hear from you. What myths have you heard? What myths have you taken on as your truth that ended up being very limiting beliefs within you that created delays in your journey? And what are the things that you learned what did you learn about yourself because you took on that myth, that limiting belief that the collective has put out there? Because we have to be very aware that there are people, there are energies and forces that simply do not want twin flames together. And some people are doing this unconsciously because they're following their inner knowing and their guidance that they are receiving. And we also have to remember too that even though our spirit guides are always guiding us and always helping us, sometimes, and this might be for another episode, we have to upgrade our spirit guides because they might be, unable to take us where it is that we want to go, or they might be keeping us in old patterns because that's what we've done time and time again. And sometimes there are spirit guides that simply just don't want things to occur, right? And it's not because they're bad, it's just because from what I've learned, they need to be upgraded. And as you upgrade, we have to upgrade our guides as well. And so my friends, I would love to hear from you. What's resonating with you? What is your biggest takeaway from this? And what are you struggling with or needing support and guidance on your twin flame journey? Because I would love to be able to create some content and videos around this. And if you're wanting to be part of a community to receive support and guidance, I do have launching in October 1st is Circle. It's a portal to inner union for the divine feminines who are on the twin flame journey. And then also too, in November, I will be launching Divinely Feminine, which is a 6-month group coaching and healing program for divine feminines who are on the twin flame journey. And starting October 1st, I will no longer be taking one-on-one clients. And so the only ways that you'll be able to work with me are through the programs and offerings that I have. And if you're wanting to know more about what it is that I offer, make sure you click on the link down in the description box. And I'm sending you all so much love and light and cannot wait to connect with you in the next episode. Until next time.